It's an escape, it's a fantasy, and I love it for that. Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the Almita Made channel. My name is Alma, and I'm here to chat about all things making, mainly sewing and knitting. Thank you so much for joining me once again. If you're a returning maybe subscriber, thank you so much. If you're new, I wonder how you found me. I'd love to know, but welcome. This is quite a colourful corner of the internet, and I hope you will enjoy my making chats. Today, I thought I would do a little update on some of the plans that I laid out, some autumn sewing and knitting plans that I laid out last week in my vlog, and I'll link to that one if you haven't seen part one, let's call it. There's a few things that I've started sewing that I've found or ordered or received, and it's all feeding into the autumn plans. There's one that I'd completely forgotten about, and I was reminded about what I wanted to make thanks to an Instagram challenge. So I thought there's quite a few things that are fitting as a continuation of my autumn 2025 plans vlog. So here we are. So let me start with what I'm wearing actually, which I don't think you've seen before on the channel. Definitely not this. So this is a Sew Over It Pussy Bow blouse made in a cotton fabric that has little shoes on it. My goodness, I love this fabric. This is quite purple, and yet I bought it before turning my hair purple. 2 years, maybe this is 3 years old, something like that. I bought it in Italy, in Prato, which is a city near Florence, where I'm from originally. Prato is very nearby. It's like an hour, I think, maybe less. It's quite nearby anyway, but it's known for its textile history, and there are still lots of, I'm not going to call them fabric shops exactly, because they're more like warehouses. They sell a lot on wholesale, but some of them you can go in and just buy as individual. So you can just buy a couple of meters, and I did that one year with a friend of mine who kindly drove me around Prato to find all these fabric places, and I bought some absolute gems. There is a lot of dead stock. I don't know that they would call it dead stock. I'm fluent. Italian is my first language, but I could not tell you the word for dead stock in Italian. I've no idea. I'd never heard that word until I moved here and I started sewing, so I really wouldn't know. But I don't know that they would define it as dead stock, but it was basically that, because some of the fabrics were recognizable for some fashion houses ready to wear collections. I'll say that. And so I found some absolute bargains and made quite a few lovely things. You might see some of the others in future vlogs, who knows? But anyway, this is a Pussy Bow blouse by Sew Over It, where I work. So there's a lot of Sew Over It talk on this channel all the time for obvious reasons. And then I have a petite knit Stockholm slipover, which I knit in springtime, I want to say. Now, I keep reaching for this because I'm really wanting to wear a lilac slipover, but every time I wear it, I'm a little bit sad about it. It's fine. It's just a little bit shapeless. The wool isn't great, and that's on me. I just went for quite a cheap wool, and it has not survived very well. I just shaved it before filming this, actually. I put it on and it was so bubbly that I thought, let me get my shaver out, which is this. In case you've no idea what I'm talking about, it's one of these. And this is a very good one. I'm very happy with it. And I do, regularly shave my jumpers because things get bubbly. That's fine. I'm prepared to kind of care for my jumpers like that. But this, I've only worn a few times, really. So I'm a little bit disappointed that it was already so bubbly. But, I did that, and then I noticed how it's almost like felted in places from where I've washed it. And I did wash it to try and shrink it because it kind of grew after blocking. And I was trying to shrink it by washing it a little bit hot, but then it felted in places. Anyway, I'm not fully happy with it. And the more I look at it, the more I think maybe I just need to re-knit it, because there's nothing wrong with the pattern. The structure of it is exactly what I want from it. It just isn't great quality. So I think also it doesn't take that much wool, so I could invest in maybe a slightly better wool, and maybe I'll be happier. So maybe that's something that gets added to my autumn knitting plans. Who knows? But yeah, in the meantime, I'm still wearing it. It's fine. It's just not ideal, but it is fine as I'm seeing it as almost an accessory. I really like how it breaks up the print of this blouse, for example, you know, just as a block of color. I love that. So I'm still reaching for it. It is warm because it is wool. I think maybe it's a wool mix. I can't remember, but there is some wool in there. Anyway, long story short, I might make another Stockholm slipover by Petite Knit. Watch this space. But we'll get to my current knitting at the end of the vlog, I think. I will start with some sewing chat. And first of all, I have an almost finished, beautiful shirt made in Liberty fabric. Oh! So this was the first plan that I laid out in last week's vlog. I thought I almost rushed to finish this, to include it as a finished thing in this vlog, but then I thought, no, this isn't the kind of shirt you rush on. And basically it's finished. I just need to do the buttonholes. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Buttonholes are always a little bit tricky. I have fought with buttonholes for years. Now I have a FAF Passport 2.0, which is 2.0, which is okay at buttonholes. It's definitely better than the brother sewing machine that I had before, but I still get sticky moments when it comes to buttonholes. So it's not the kind of thing that I should do in a rush. So I will do it on a calm evening when I'm really focused. I will finish this blouse. But, and I'm saying blouse, it's really a shirt, because I think when I said what the plan was, it's inspired by some Cézanne blouses that I've been seeing since last year, actually, which have this sort of ruffle, it is exactly a ruffle, all down the front. I love that detail and I decided to recreate it. And I think I'd mentioned that I was probably going to hack the Sew Over It Amy shirt, and that's exactly what I did. So I'll talk about the hack more once it's finished in a makes vlog probably, but I can tell you that I'm very happy with the hack. I think it's worked really well. And this fabric really lent itself to being ruffled up. It's a Tana Lawn from Liberty's, a fabric that my aunt bought me, which is so very extra precious because not only it's Liberty, but it's a gift. And yeah, I'm obsessed with it. Like, the colors are so beautiful. And yeah, I think I've tried it on obviously without buttons, but I'm very happy with the fit. I did do a little adjustment, which I hadn't done on previous Amy shirts, and I think I'm very happy with that adjustment. So as I say, more on that to come, but I couldn't resist showing you where I'm at for now. And mainly that ruffle detail. How pretty is that? It's given it a real 60s, late 60s / 70s look, which I am completely up for. There's I don't know, you'll see it more when I wear it, and I've got pictures of it on, but there's a true Beatles vibe, sort of Sgt. Pepper's, maybe Magical Mystery Tour, those kind of styles of the Beatles fashion, and I'm absolutely not mad about that. I love it. It's a good thing in my book. So there you go, a ruffly Sew Over It Amy shirt. First progress to show you. And while we're on the Amy shirt, I'm now going to talk to you about the plan that I didn't mention last time, which had completely gone out of my mind. And then I found out that one of my favorite Instagram challenges is coming back, which I'd sort of missed when they first announced it, I think. But it's called the Sew Recreate the Look challenge. And I entered this challenge 2 years ago. And that's what gave me the push to create one of my favorite Carrie Bradshaw inspired dresses, the newspaper dress, which you can find out more about in my Carrie Bradshaw vlog, which I'll link to, of course. And I also created the Barbie gingham dress for that challenge. And I, first of all, loved having the push at the time. That meant it was a great excuse to recreate those two dresses that were in my brain. And also I won, and I won some incredible patterns. I got to know some pattern companies that I hadn't heard of at the time, which were Sew Love Patterns and Ready to Sew. And I've now sewn those patterns quite a lot. You must have heard me mention the partner overalls by Ready to Sew. I won that pattern because of that challenge. And then the Sew Love patterns, that feels weird to say, but I think I've sewn 4 of her dresses and I love them, absolutely love them. I'm hoping to sew another spring, still don't know how to pronounce it, dress this autumn. So yeah, what a great challenge to win. Those were incredible prizes, and some fabric as well. I won some fabric from Bernella Fabrics. I made one of the Sew Love Patterns dresses in. If I've got a picture, I'll pop it up. And some other fabric that I still haven't used. It will be made into something at some point. Anyway, all of this to say that that Instagram challenge holds a very special place in my heart, and it's coming back. All you have to do is sew something inspired by something. It could be something you've seen on Instagram made by another maker. It could be something from the catwalks. It could be something from Pinterest. That's what a lot of people do. I've always gone for screen inspirations, and the one I'm about to tell you about is also inspired by the small screen. So I'm definitely going to enter the challenge again, because why not? And also it's a great prompt to make this garment that has been in my head since, I'm going to say, last spring. I'd forgotten all about it, and this is the perfect time to bring it back. And I do want to make this garment very, very much. So the inspiration is from Emily in Paris. Now, this is a Netflix show, and I have to be very honest, this is one of my hate watches. If you're not familiar with what that means, it's when you watch something that you don't necessarily like, but you really like to watch it and complain about it. I think that's how I would describe it. So I am not a fan of the story. I am not a fan of the character, but I really still enjoy watching it. And if you know what I'm talking about, what hate watching is, if you're familiar with the term, and if you too love to hate Emily in Paris, then I can definitely recommend a podcast called Enemy in Paris, which is just very funny. They deconstruct every episode talking about how many things are wrong with it, basically. How much the story doesn't make sense, time doesn't make sense, all of these things that I love to hate about Emily in Paris. But, you know, what is very fun in that show is definitely the fashion. And I'm pretty sure the first season of Emily in Paris, at least, was styled or costumed by the original Sex and the City costume designer, Patricia Fields. So there's a lot to love there. They're all extravagant. It doesn't make sense that this girl, who is a social media manager, which, by the way, is my job, there's no way that she would be gallivanting around Paris in full Chanel outfits or whatever she's wearing, because I'm definitely not. But, you know, it's all about the fantasy. It's the same as Carrie Bradshaw. She wouldn't, in the original Sex and the City series, she wouldn't have been able to afford the wardrobe that she wore. So it's an escape, it's a fantasy, and I love it for that. The story and the characters, I bang my head on the wall at. But the fashion, there's a lot to love. Having said all that, I hope that that made sense to at least some of you out there. The outfit that has been in my inspiration page on Stash Hub for quite a while. And Stash Hub is the organizational app that I love to use. I do have a code for you to get a free month of premium Stash Hub, I think. I'll put it below. I use it all the time, and it also has, you know, it has space for you to organize your patterns, to organize your fabrics. And also there is an inspiration tab, and that one I really enjoy using. So when I see something that I'm like, oh, I would like to make that, or something inspired by that, that's where I save it. And this image has been in there for quite a few months. And it is a checked shirt. Nothing crazy about it, but it is so good. And the way that they've styled it with a floral tie, I don't know if I will be able to recreate that tie. I do love it. It's kind of like a chunky tie. Maybe I can. I have a tie pattern, a sew over it tie pattern, which I've made a few times. I don't know if I'm clever enough to adapt that into the sort of fashion short and stubby tie that she's got in the picture. But I might give it a go. If not, I might just find a charity shop floral tie. We'll see what happens there. But I do have the absolutely perfect fabric for it, which is this. Some of you might recognize it. It was from Nerissa, from the edit by Nerissa. She did a few fabrics a few years ago. I think I bought this in her closing down sale, something like that. I really love it. I love the color. It's sort of black with a very, very, very pale pink. I mean, it's probably cream, but it has like a pink hue or something like that. And what I really like is that the grid is irregular. So it's not perfectly straight lines. I really love that. And I think that this made into a classic Amy shirt by Sew Over It, the pattern I mentioned before, but so with no hacks this time, just a classic collar. I think this will look very much like the Emily in Paris shirt. And I would like to make that. And having made I know it's a hack, but I've recently remade the Amy shirt, and I thought it's not super fast, but it's definitely on the quicker side of shirt making. There's a few things that make it a little bit speedier than other patterns that I've used before. So yeah, this I'm hoping to finish by the end of October. That's when the challenge expires, I think. Let me check. So you can share your finished make in the whole last week of October, basically, between the 25th and the 31st of October. So you can share anytime during that week and be entered into the prize draw. And there's 3 categories, I think, which I can't find right this second, but I think it's definitely, oh yeah, here we go. Best basic, best interpretation, and best copy. I think this would be a best copy category because I'm going to try and recreate exactly the look that I've seen on Emily in Paris. So there you go. And I should have said that the challenge is being run by the wonderful Jen Legs Sew and So Dressmaking. So Dressmaking. And they're both lovely. They are sharing lots of inspiration. I love this challenge. I love seeing what people create. I really enjoy a direct recreation of something, but I also really like the inspired by category. So there's lots to like. I'm a big fan of sewing challenges on Instagram because they, as I say, for this one, I'd forgotten everything about this project that was in my head in sort of the lead up to spring, and then it turned hot quite quickly and I wasn't interested in making a proper shirt anymore. So I'm so glad that the challenge has come around and reminded me of it. So hopefully you'll see that by the end of the month. Hold me accountable. No, don't. I'm scared. So that's an added autumn plan. Then I want to move on to talking about my Eggy pajamas. I showed you last time the duvet set that I bought from IKEA, which is covered in fried eggs, and I'm very excited about this project. And I think from your reaction in the comments as well, people are excited about this project too. I have not started it yet. However, there have been some developments. So first of all, I have decided on the pattern, and the more I thought about it, the more I decided that this pattern had been floating around my mind for so many years, and it was the time to do it. And that is the Caroline pajamas by Closet Core. Ooh, there it is. I bought a paper pattern. I never buy paper patterns, but I realized because it's quite a large pattern, as in there's a lot of pieces and very big ones, it did work out cheaper for me to get the paper pattern from the fold line than it would have to get the PDF and get it printed straight away. Because usually I buy PDFs because then they're there and then I'll print them at a later date, and usually that works out spreading the cost. But because I knew that I want to start on these pajamas fairly soon, I did want to order the printing straight away, and it just worked out better to get it in paper. And what a treat. I don't get this very often for myself, so I'm excited. One thing that has always put me off buying this pattern is how much fabric it needs. So it's sort of, if your fabric is narrow, which a lot of cute cotton prints are often quilting cottons, and they are quite a narrow fabric, which means that you'd require almost 5 meters for my kind of size, almost 5 meters of fabric, of narrow fabric. This is wider and I've got a lot of it. So different situation. But anyway, the fabric quantities required have been what has stopped me in the past from getting this pattern. And suddenly that wasn't a problem anymore because I've got all this fabric from the duvet set. So I thought, just get it. You love it. Every time I see someone make this, I'm like, wow, I want to make that. And so I bought the pattern. It arrived very quickly from the fold line. Very happy with that. I've been looking at the sizing and I am a little bit confused. I do know, I think of all the pattern companies that I've used, indie pattern companies that I've used, Closet Core has the least similar to me block. So I don't know if you know this, but each pattern company sort of has a basic shape. I'm not talking sizing, I'm talking the shape of the body is different for every pattern company. So for example, at Sew Over It, I am the fit model, not like fit, but the fit, the model that you fit on. That's me at Sew Over It. So as you can imagine, the basic shape of the patterns is very close to what my shape is, which is ideal. And this, by the way, I became the fit model after Lisa left the business, and we are very similar in shape. So that's why it worked out quite well for me. But, you know, I've recently made something from True Bias, and I was very surprised to see that the bodice fitted me really well straight out of the pack. Friday Pattern Company fits me fairly well. And again, I'm not talking size, I'm talking shape. And Closet Core, I have sewn a few things from them, and the main one where I realized how different the block was from me was the Jenny overalls, which I don't have anymore, which I'm gutted because they were a difficult make. They were difficult to kind of adjust to my shape. They were difficult to sew. And then I used a fabric that basically wore out within, I'm going to say like 6 washes. It was awful. It was from Gold Talk Road, and I should have gone for something a little bit better, to be honest, but I got rid of those and I was very angry and sort of never wanted to think about it again. But I realized how basically not hourglass the block is for Closet Core, and I am very much an hourglass. So luckily, this is 2 separate things. There's the shirt and there's the trousers. So hopefully I'm just going to end up making a very different size for the shirt compared to the size that I choose for the trousers. I also got a comment on the last vlog from someone who said that the trousers came out very tight. So I think I'm going to have a proper look at all the measurements, the finished measurements as well. And I'm going to on the side of caution and maybe make a slightly bigger size for the trousers, something like that. We'll see how I get on. But, you know, I think the shirt will be fine. And I just need to be careful with the trousers because that's where my waist is quite a lot smaller than my hips, which is what causes trouble when it comes to fitting. But yes, I am excited by the design. And the more I looked at this, the more I thought at the samples as well that they have on their website, the more I thought, oh, I really want to add the piping. Piping is such a posh pajama touch, I think. And the more I think about it, the more I really want to add that touch to these egg pajamas. And I started thinking, oh, it should be yellow piping like the eggs. These are the eggs. So cute. Because of course I could do white, but I don't know why the white wasn't appealing to me. I thought what would be great would be to get piping that looks like the egg yellow. And I started looking just online, looking for yellow piping and thinking, oh, how am I going to match it though? It's so hard to get like the right yellow. And then something occurred to me to look into my chaotic trims stash. It's very chaotic. And I had a vague memory that I had some yellow piping at some point. In my head, it was a much colder yellow. So this is quite almost mustardy, if you can see. And I thought, let's get that yellow piping that I'm remembering about out, just in case it's close enough. And to my absolute delight, this is what I found in my stash. I'm sorry, that's so good. It is a bit brighter than the yellow yoke, but so good. I'm very happy with that. Really happy with that. And I don't have, I think the recommendation is about 5 meters if you want to pipe the whole top and the cuff of the trousers. I have about just shy of 4 meters. So what I'm going to do is definitely pipe the shirt and then measure what I've got left against the pattern for the trousers and see if I could get away with piping the cuffs. If not, I'll make the trousers without the cuff, and that's fine. I think what I really want is piping around the beautiful Revere collar of the shirt. That's what's going to make me really happy. So there you go. Such great news. I love that. And I should be better at cataloguing my trims and haberdashery on Stash Hub as well. I just haven't gone through. So what I've been doing is if I buy something new, it goes on Stash Hub. But what I haven't done is putting in stuff that's been there for years. I should do that at some point because otherwise you forget about things like this. There you go. But happy news for me there. And now, while we're on the subject of bed linen, I mentioned on my Marie Antoinette vlog that I did a few weeks ago, I'll link to it, and it's a look at the Marie Antoinette style exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum, which I went to and absolutely loved, and I came back with my head full of inspiration and ideas. Something I mentioned in that vlog was that I would love to make something in a toile fabric, as in toile de Jouy fabric, which is it's a style of fabric very much connected to Marie Antoinette. It's very French. It's those countryside scenes on fabric. It's very commonly found in a blue or sometimes a red color. So red on white or blue on white. You still see it a lot in curtains and things like that. And at the exhibition, there were some modern takes on Marie Antoinette made by different fashion houses like Dior, Moschino, things like that, and they were made in toile de Jouy. And I just looked at them and thought, oh, I really, really want to make something in this. But what I ideally need is this in purple, because blue, I tend not to wear much blue because I don't love how blue and purple go together because they clash a little bit. They're too close together. That's it. So I don't love that. And red, again, I'm not a huge fan of red and purple. But so I thought maybe at some point I'll be able to find some pink, maybe, toile de Jouy, something like that. And then someone commented, Marilla commented on that vlog saying, oh, you should look up Laura Ashley lilac toile de Jouy, because she had a whole collection of things exactly in what you're talking about. And I thought, oh my God, I had no idea. I am vaguely aware of Laura Ashley, but I grew up in Italy and I didn't move to the UK until 2005. So kind of past the Laura Ashley golden years. And so I vaguely know of the aesthetic, but I'd never in my life seen anything in toile de Jouy by Laura Ashley. And immediately, once I read that comment, I went on eBay and looked for exactly that, Laura Ashley lilac toile de Jouy, and a few listings came up straight away, and one was a brand new single duvet set in exactly that print. So I've got a single duvet set which is 137 centimeters by 2 meters. So I think, again, that's double, much like the Eggies. That's on both sides, hopefully. I haven't checked yet. And that gives me a lot of fabric to play with. I'm going to open the pillow cover just so we can look at the print. So pretty. A little bit easier to open than the IKEA one, if you saw my struggles last week. Here we go. So it's 100% cotton. Love. I would say the weight is like a cotton poplin. Very smooth, actually. Like a mercerized cotton, maybe? Who knows? Oh, it's beautiful, proper nice fabric to touch. Here we go. It's showing more grey than lilac. I will maybe put a picture up because it's showing a little bit more grey than lilac. But there's a lot of lover scenes. There's a windmill. There's, yeah, people blowing kisses to each other. Beautiful. There's a little barge, and there's, I'm wondering if there's any animals. I always like, yes, there's a sheep. There's a little boat. There's lots of cupids. It's very romantic, very pretty. I love it. In lilac, it's exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much, Marilla, for that tip, because I would never have known. And I have in the past looked for purple toile de Jouy, and none of this came up, because I think this is called lavender. The Laura Ashley kind of line is called lavender, and looking for lilac came up, but when I looked for purple, it didn't come up. So I'm so grateful for that comment. And I would want to make something quite Marie Antoinette inspired with this. I'm not sure when this will happen, because it's not going to be your everyday thing that I reach for all the time, but more of a fantasy make that I would still want it to be wearable. Basically, what I thought is, this feels very much like spring and summer, but I don't want to wait that long, because maybe by then I won't be as inspired to make something. Do you know what I mean? And so at first I was thinking, obviously, a lovely summer dress, and then I thought, oh, but that's quite limiting. Then I thought, how about if I make something that has a sort of lace-up corset involved? I'm not sure where I'm going, but what I'm thinking is, if it's something, a dress, definitely a dress, but something that is sleeveless, but with some kind of lace-up corset incorporated, which would mean that I can wear it both layered on top of, say, a shirt like this, a blouse like this. Imagine, how are we going to do this? It's actually surprisingly effective, if you can still hear me with the mic. There's something like this that I could wear on top of a blouse like this, but then with adjustable kind of tightness, so that I could still also wear it with just a bra in the summer as a sleeveless dress. So quite a big skirt, some kind of adjustable tightness bodice. It could also be shearing, but I feel like a lace-up thing would feel more Marie Antoinette inspired, with a big ribbon tying it up. I don't know. I've got this vision. We'll see what I manage to do. And I've no idea, pattern-wise, it might have to be a heavily hacked something, but you never know. I might find exactly the right thing. Either way, I am very excited about this new acquisition, as the knitting vlogs would say. I don't know why we don't say that with sewing, but it is an acquisition. New fabric in the shape of yet another duvet set. Very happy with that. Now, the next things I'm going to update you about are knitting related. So I'm getting there with my Eggs on Toast socks. So these are Colorwork socks by Stone Knits. And the last time I showed you, I'd made some progress with knitting basically the whole leg of the second sock. This is the second sock. So when I finish it, I will actually have a pair of socks, which feels exciting. So since I last talked to you, I now have a heel. Has happened. That's exciting. And a first round of the repeat. Yeah, one full round of the repeat, I think. And now I just need to do another full round, I think. And then the toe. Yeah, I think that's what's left to do. So I'm happy with how much progress I'm making on this. I'm sort of making myself work on it. So I'm not as excited. It's just not as exciting as the first sock, let's be honest. It is hard to find a motivation for the second one. But knitting the eggs is very cute. It's fun. I do enjoy that. So there they are. They're coming along quite nicely. Let me see if I can... I think I did this last time. It wasn't the best, but there we go. Yeah, so they will stretch out on my leg like this. And yeah, hopefully, I reckon, let's not jinx it, but I do think I could finish this by Christmas. Let's just hope so. I just need to keep working on it a little bit at the time. So I made all this progress, I think, in maybe 2 evenings, the heel and the foot, I guess. So there is hope. There is hope. There we go. And then the other knitting update is my Pettson vest. I'll put all the details of these patterns on the screen and below so you can find out more. But when you saw this last, I had only swatched for the fabric for this project. And now, since then, I've cast it on and I've actually finished the first bit, which is the back. So this is like a little open vest. So it's a cardi vest. Is that a thing? It's a vest that has buttons at the front, which is very exciting. Not something I've made before, and I'm very excited about it. And I am knitting it in a combination of a very rustic pure tweed yarn and some sparkly silvery thread, I'm going to call it. I guess it's a yarn, but it's really a thread. It's tiny. But here it is. So, oh my God, it sparkles so much. It's amazing. So I think this is what I've made. I might be wrong, but I think this is where we're at. So this will be the neckline, and this is going down. Oh! This is where the armhole's gonna attach to the front. I think that's what's going on. Hard to know, to be honest. But the back is in reverse stockinette, and this is such an example. So when I looked at this pattern at first, I was like, oh, this looks hard and beyond me in a good way. Like, I'll have to learn some things. But it's mainly because I just don't know the terminology. And so, for example, at one point it said, oh, the back is knit in reverse stockinette. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? What is that? I've only done normal stockinette. It just means that the purl side is the right side and the knit side is the wrong side. So it's fine. Everything is doable. Just look it up. It's just my mind jumped to conclusions of like, I don't know how to do this. But as soon as you look it up, you will probably find out that it's something you kind of already know. There was some short rows at the very beginning for the neckline shaping, and it started talking about a double stitch. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have no idea what that is. I do. I've done it before. It's just I didn't have that term in my brain. It's so different for me between knitting and sewing, how much I feel like I know nothing in knitting. But actually, I'm not a total beginner. I have been knitting for at least, like seriously, I would say for at least 5 years. Because it was during the first lockdown, I feel like I got, yeah, in 2020. I found out that I set up my Ravelry account in 2020. That to me feels like that's the year when I got a little bit more into knitting. So, you know, not a total beginner. I have done quite difficult patterns actually by now, but I still feel that complete imposter syndrome or something like that, where I assume that I know absolutely nothing. But actually, with calm, collected focus, I usually find out that I am able to do things. So there you go, a lesson for us all. So this is the first part of the back panel. And I now bought some barber cord, I think it's called, which I mentioned in one vlog, I think, which is useful to kind of put your stitches to rest while you don't need them. Because at this point, I finished this part, it says to put the stitches on hold, and then you start knitting the front panel. I think what's happening next, I think I'm picking up some stitches on the neckline and I'll start knitting the left front and then the right front. I think that's what's happening. But anyway, this is just like very plasticky, rubbery cable that allowed me to put these stitches on hold so I can use the needles to knit the next bit. So very pleased with this. And yeah, what I did is I was getting very excited about this project. So I did this fairly quickly. And then when I finished this bit and there was a natural pause, that's when I thought, okay, tomorrow when I knit, I'll do some more progress on my Eggy socks. So do you see what I mean? Where I'm forcing, it's not forcing, I enjoy it all, but I'm trying to be disciplined so that I finish those socks, because I know I will love them when they're finished. It's just not as exciting as something new. But this is why I kind of rewarded myself for getting the first bit of this done by doing my homework. which are the Eggy socks. This is all ridiculous. It's all voluntary. It's all stuff I want to do, but I think you will understand what I mean. And so I think I'm going to finish the color work repeat on that sock next time I knit, which I'm not knitting every single day, but you know, quite a few evenings I'm spending knitting. And when I might pause just before the toe, which gets a little bit more tricky, and then I'll do a little bit more on this. That's how I'm gonna hopefully balance these two makes. But I'm excited that this is taking shape quite quickly, I think. It is on fairly big needles for me recently. This is 5mm needles for most of the body of the Pettson vest. And recently I've not gone really beyond like a 3mm needle. I think all my recent projects have been on very small ones. So 5mm needles feels like I'm flying through this. And I am quite enjoying knitting with both, I was going to say threads, but yeah, yarns. I do have to pay a little bit of attention because sometimes I don't catch the silver thread because it's so fine. And yeah, I kind of need to not fully distract myself. So if I'm watching something, I can watch something that I'm not super into. Like I can watch Married at First Sight. That's perfect. It's a terrible reality, but it's very addictive. And with that, I don't feel like I need to look at the screen constantly. You know, it's fine if I miss something. But if I'm watching a drama, like I was trying to knit while watching 9 Bodies in the Mexican Morgue. Is that what it's called? It's a show on BBC iPlayer here. And oh my God, it's so good. I would really recommend it. But I was trying to knit with this while watching that. I was like, no, this can't happen at the same time. I need to pay attention. What's going on? Who's lying? So yes. Anyway, good progress on this. I do also have hopes that I will finish this by Christmas, which this one is more important that I finish before Christmas, really, because I want to wear it as a festive addition to lots of outfits. Because look how much it sparkles. I can't get over how good of an idea this was. To mix the black tweed with the sparkle. It brings me such joy. I love it. So there you go. That is my first update on my autumn makes. I might do a few more of these because obviously I'm not going to get everything done at the same time. That's not the point of it, is it? It's all going to be gradual. So maybe I'll, you know, next time I see you, hopefully I will have the finished ruffled shirt, and maybe I'll have one bit of progress on the Eggy pajamas, and we'll carry on like that. And hopefully by the end of October I will have the grid shirt, the Emily in Paris shirt, and yeah, so on and so forth. But I'm very excited. I don't think I've been this excited about autumn sewing for a while. As I mentioned at some point, I'm sure I have. I just get very inspired by summer and hot weather. That makes me so excited to sew. And I feel like you can wear more things because it's not wet and cold. Like then you can wear a bigger variety of things. But, and I do think it's due to the fact that there's more knitting in my life, I am very excited about all of these outfits, combinations that could come out of this autumn making. So we'll see how I get on. But yes, thank you so much for watching. If you've stuck to the end, you are great. Thank you. I do chat for quite a while in these, so I'm very happy to see that people are watching them all. I love nothing more than a long vlog while I'm making, sewing or knitting. That's why I love making a long vlog, because I love watching a long vlog. So hopefully there's a few of you like-minded people out there. If you liked this quite long vlog, then please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Consider buying me a coffee. The link is below if you're able to do so. And spread the word about this channel. If you think one of your crafting friends might enjoy it, do let them know that I'm here to chat for hours on end about some pretty funky makes, and hopefully keeping you company as you make. I would love to hear that you are watching this while working on a project. Nothing would make me happier than that. So please do mention it in the comments below. And until I see you again, keep making and keep chatting about making. Bye. doing the bins. It's too early for the bins.